The process of wet aging, similar to dry aging, is a technique used to mature and therefore tenderize meat. The way it does this is through the enzymatic process in which the breakdown of tissue occurs. This results in a meat that is more juicier, tender, and has a more pronounced beefy flavor. However, it's opposite to dry aging, as meat is stored in a cryovac bag and then placed in the fridge with almost no air exposure whatsoever. The reason why it's called wet aging is because the meat ages in its own natural juices. This allows an enzyme called calpain to become active and break down tissue. Wet aging is great for meat that's lean, as opposed to dry aging, whereby a protective layer of fat is ideal. Dry aging is great for large cuts of meat, such as whole quarters and primal cuts of beef. Think half of a cow, prime rib, or brisket. Wet aging is more ideal for cuts of steak, what can fit in a cryovac bag. In today's lesson, we'll be wet aging filet mignon. Now, how long you decide to wet age your steak is really up to you, but 4 to 10 days as a minimum is a good range to start. Some chefs will even go as long as 30 to 60 days. Finally, we'll be pairing our wet aged filet mignon with a creamy mashed potato, green beans tossed in our compound butter, and an amazing pan sauce. So with all that being said, let's get started. Here we have our beautiful filet mignon, which is a cut derived from the tip of the beef tenderloin. Now, the color of any steak you cook with should be a nice cherry red with no discoloration. As you can see here, this fillet has twine wrapped around it in order to correct its shape to resemble a hockey puck, and this is very common to see with this cut of beef. Now, before we begin wet aging, we'll blot our fillet dry with a paper towel so that any blood from the surface is removed. We'll then add our fillet into a vac-pack bag and begin to vacuum seal. We'll date this with a Sharpie, and this will go into the fridge to age for 10 days. Now, after the time has elapsed, here's our steak. Now, never mind the color, this simply means there was a small amount of oxygen in the bag, which caused the surface of the meat to turn brown. We'll slice this bag open and remove our steak. And it actually feels more tender compared to when we started. I'll pat dry with a paper towel. And next, I'll season generously with salt and of course some freshly cracked pepper. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. Now, what I like to do sometimes is mop up any of the seasoning that was left behind, especially with the edges of the steak. I'll let this hang out at room temperature for about 1 hour so the salt can penetrate the meat. In the meantime, we'll make our potato puree. I'll add some diced Yukon Gold potatoes into a Dutch oven, then add cold water to cover. I'll place this onto the burner and season with a teaspoon of salt. I'll then bring to a simmer. Now you'll want to cook this until the potato slides off your paring knife with ease. And this isn't quite done yet. But after a few more minutes, I test it again, and this is perfect. I'll add about half a cup of heavy cream to a saucepan, followed by some garlic cloves and a few sprigs of thyme. We'll then bring this to a gentle simmer. I'll kill the heat and let this infuse for 5 minutes. We'll add our potatoes to a strainer and push them through like so. And this will ensure that we get a really smooth finish. And you can also use a potato ricer if you have one. Next, I'll add in some butter, followed by a pinch of salt, and fold this through. I'll then add the infused cream bit by bit until I'm happy with the consistency. And you would be surprised how much liquid potatoes can actually absorb. And this might look too runny, but once it's reheated, it'll thicken quite a bit. We'll season with salt and continue to taste until it's perfect. Now back to our steak. It's absorbed the salt and is looking great. Before we begin to sear, we'll blot off any excess moisture from the surface. I'll add some oil to a smoking hot pan, and then add my fillet. I'll sear until we get a nice crust, while making sure I press gently to ensure contact with the pan. Once a nice crust has formed, we'll turn and continue to sear the other side. I'll then turn once again and add this to the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. Halfway through, I'll remove and turn once more for even cooking. And this right here I can tell is done. I'll place onto a wire rack to rest while I make my sauce. I'll deglaze the pan with some red wine and scrape off that fond we developed with our sear. We'll reduce this by about 3/4 of the way. I'll then add some of my beef demi and swirl that in. I'll continue to reduce. Once thickened, we'll kill the heat and add in some cold butter to slowly emulsify it. And here's our beautiful pan sauce. Finally, I'll blanch some green beans for about 1 to 2 minutes and then strain. I'll add these beans to a bowl along with some of the compound butter we made. We'll season with a pinch of salt and continue to mix. And there's our tasty green beans. I'll add a base of potato puree onto the plate along with a bed of beans. Our filet mignon on top. We'll then spoon over our pan sauce. I'll dig in. And there's our beautiful pink filet mignon. This sauce was delicious and tied everything together quite well. Let's now cut into the center of the fillet. And this was perfect and even pink throughout. The wet age also made the steak more tender and gave it a beefier flavor. Now that concludes our module on beef and steak. In the next lesson, we'll be working with lamb, specifically the shanks. We'll be showcasing how to make biryani as well as the art of braising, a technique that works perfectly with boned-in cuts as well as extremities. See you there.